Welcome to the e-commerce podcast. My name is Matt Edmondson, and we are chatting today about all things e-commerce, as you would probably expect. But specifically, we are talking to an absolute legend, Jordan West, about TikTok Shop. We're going to get into all of that. And if you're new to the show, very warm welcome to you. Make sure you like and subscribe and do all of that sort of good stuff, because it's great to see you here. And of course, to say right off the bat, if you haven't done so already, come connect with me on LinkedIn. Connect with Jordan on LinkedIn. Jordan, you are perhaps one of the busiest men on LinkedIn, it seems. You have been killing it recently.
You know, it's funny. I tried to hire somebody to help me.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, I'm going to train you. I'm going to give you the ideas and I'm going to train you to write like me. And it was 3 months and I didn't publish a single one. And it took me so long. And I was like, and I realized I'm like, nah, there's some things that you can outsource. And people would argue, yeah, go ahead. You can outsource your writing if you want. I think that there's some things it really depends. And so my reach actually, interestingly, went down during that time as I was trying to go back and forth with him on this sort of stuff immensely. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. There's some things you can outsource, some things that you cannot and that you should not. Right. And for me, I think that writing is one of the things that I love to do. I was going to call it a superpower. I don't know if it's a superpower. I wouldn't say I'm like a great writer. I think I love communicating and I love sharing things that come up throughout the day because I have so many different conversations, whether it's with like consulting clients or at our agency or, you know, anything, or with like really smart people like you where I'm like, ooh, I need to share this. I need to share this now. That's the only reason that I prolifically post on LinkedIn.
It's that, but I love it. And I it's great to follow it and connect with it. And I think it's, the way you write, I'm always drawn by how well I don't know if you do it intentionally, but the whole sales side of things, like, do you know what I mean? It's, you do the whole fear of missing out thing really well. You do the whole, I'm drawn in by the information. And if I don't get involved in this, or if I don't stay connected with you, then I'm going to be the biggest loser on the planet kind of thing. And it's like,
I don't mean to do that, Matt.
No, I don't. But I don't think it's intentional, but I think you do. It just comes across super well, you know, and I can see why your reach is growing, because I think that draws people in the way you do it.
Well, that's super nice. It's also interesting. And I know, you know, this is the ecom podcast, the e-commerce podcast. Okay. So don't worry. We're going to talk about e-commerce here, but I think that there's something very interesting about you and me being non-Americans, right? And that we can, like, I've often thought, why are Canadians specifically? And I think that British are similar to this, really good marketers to Americans. Like I find I can actually talk to Americans. Like we have basically all American clients at Social Commerce Club. All of my consulting that I do, it's all American brands. And for some reason, I think it's this outside the jar approach, right? That you can see, because I will see, I've had American copywriters try and work for Canadian brands before. And I'm like, no, we don't go for that. We don't like go for those. No, we don't go for those little tricks, right? Versus like, you know, you and I grew up watching Faulty Towers, right? Like,
yes, that's so true. Yeah.
Right. And like think about like the greatest comedies of all time are Canadian and British, right? And the comedians of our day, right? Like, like look at Schitt's Creek, right? For so long, right? This was like a Canadian show on CBC, our little funny channel that we have, right? And like we all watch Schitt's Creek because we're like, oh, this is hilarious. And then the rest of the world sees it and it's like, oh, this is brilliant. I don't exactly know what it is. This is something I actually want to do a documentary on. You asked, oh, what are you up to these days? That's another thing. I want to raise money for a documentary on why there's so many outsized. There should be 10x the amount of funny Americans as there are Canadians, but there's not. The amount of famous Canadians that are comedians is just crazy. And I think it's very similar for the British. Yeah. So anyway, big rant to say, I'm pumped to talk about e-commerce today.
Yeah, absolutely. And comedy. We should just do the comedy podcast. Do you know a chap called Peter Murphy-Lewis?
Oh man, sounds so familiar. And I'm blanking.
Yeah, not to put you on the spot, but Peter is brilliant at the whole documentary type stuff. And he he makes documentaries specifically about nursing homes and puts them on LinkedIn and puts the story on LinkedIn. And Peter just fascinates me with the way that he thinks and stuff. So you'd want him to do a documentary, connect with Peter, because he would be an interesting chap to talk to.
Well, you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
When you see this happening and coming together, it's going to be like, oh.
It just happened here. So let's talk about e-commerce, Jordan, because that's what we do. First and foremost, Social Commerce Club. Let's talk about that. That's what you do. You've got your agency. Let's give people a little bit of background about you, because this is the second time you've been on the show from memory, or the third.
It is. And it was a long time ago, Matt. Like you and I met and we met through your podcast.
Yeah, we did.
So there was a time actually where I was growing a previous agency. It was called Mindful Marketing. Okay. And I was growing that agency, and here were the two ways that I grew it. I went on podcasts and I had people on my podcasts. Yeah. And I would have like multiple people, and I would just have brands come on, right? And that's how I grew. And then I would go, because I owned brands, and I would go on other people's podcasts. And so I'm sure I just reached out to you. I think I went on something like 100 podcasts in 1 year. And it was crazy, the amount of conversations that I had, and the amount of just incredible insight that I was able to gather from both sides. And so that's really where we met. And you know, from there was a couple iterations of the agency. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I hate running an agency. I hate having employees.
You and me both.
Friday I had to have this emergency meeting with my team because somebody on our team was stealing. How? Like and of course it was an American. Of course. It's like only times I've ever been sued, Americans. Yeah. We would never do that,
Yeah. No, we just have a conversation, and just like normal people would. Yeah.
Exactly. You'd just be like, oh, hey, should we just talk about it? Like, so I don't love, so what I love is growing something and envisioning something and then handing it off to people. What I don't like is the 1 to 10, right? I love 0 to 1. So my team hates me because I'm always coming up with new things, right? And new ways to go. And so this Social Commerce Club was an iteration of that, right? And what I saw was a new way that people shop. And I'll tell you how I saw it. I watched my wife on her phone, and I watched her scrolling. And I watched the steps that she would take while scrolling reels to then go over and straight to go buy things. And I was like, this is really interesting. And then I saw her on TikTok, and I saw the same thing happening. And I was like, oh, this is that on steroids. And then I started to watch other people on TikTok and the way that they were interacting. And I always thought to myself, why is TikTok so ridiculously bad at converting customers? Right? Because we all know from not from post-purchase survey, from attribution, right? It's virtually a 0. Like you can maybe get a 1 return on ad spend on TikTok, maybe, right? Like with e-com, it's very, very difficult. Yeah. And so when TikTok Shop came around, I thought, okay, this is kind of interesting. And at first, when people told me about it, I was like, well, this is just like Meta Shops, like big deal, right? Like one other place for people to check out. This does not change the game, until I realized what they were doing. And when I realized that influencers on the platform, which I'm now going to from now on call creators, right? We're going to call them creators, not influencers. I think they're like salespeople on the platform. When they're incentivized to make a sale on the platform, I realized, oh my gosh, affiliate marketing is finally here in e-com, right? Because previously affiliate marketing just didn't really work in e-com in the same sort of way, right? Like the attribution was so bad that it just didn't follow in the same sort of way. And I realized, oh my gosh, this changes everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's it's interesting listening to you talk. Number one, I'm not a big fan of running agencies myself, right? So I just don't do it. Just let other people do that. I used to be the 0 to 1 guy. But I don't do that anymore. I'm much better at helping companies who are already well established. Do you know what I mean? So we've started doing this whole acquisition thing. So there's some big announcements coming. Some companies we've one company in particular we've sort of acquired recently and invested in, which is great. So it's interesting listening to the evolution of this, and I'm smiling because I just can't. You're watching your wife shop on TikTok. I don't even know if my wife knows what TikTok is, right? So I think that just might be an age thing. I think you're a younger family than we are. But I get what you're saying about affiliate marketing, because apart from the outliers, there's always a story of one person that did really well, and every affiliate software company tells you that story, and you think, well, I'm going to kill it. And it can be quite tricky. I'm curious, then what you have, because this is going back to what you said about LinkedIn. A lot of what you post on LinkedIn is about killing it with TikTok Shop. Social commerce is, your social commerce club connected to that, changing it from to creators rather than influencers. What are you seeing?
So here's the crazy thing that I'm seeing, right? Number one, so we work with a lot of big brands, right? So a lot of household names out there who are trying to get onto social commerce. Now, one of the main reasons that we're doing that is we're at Social Commerce Club, we just happen to be the adults in the room, right? There's a lot of agencies out there that sprung up from people who understood TikTok but didn't understand business. And so that was really difficult, right? For a lot of brands got burned by some small agencies. And not saying that some of these young guys couldn't do it, but it just wasn't the same as them coming to us. I think that the other thing too that we saw is everyone on Amazon wanted to hop onto TikTok Shop because they're like, oh, this is the next big thing. The problem was the Amazon people actually didn't do very well because Amazon is a demand capture channel. TikTok Shop is a demand gen channel, right? And so us that were in direct to consumer and started in direct to consumer, and remember my brands that I've owned over the years are all basically in apparel and accessories. Yeah. Right? Apparel and accessories in D2C is playing on hard mode. I never really realized until I went and played in some other industries and I was like, oh man, it'd be so nice to be able to do problem solution. Like I would love that. Apparel and accessories do not do problem solution. That is not how it works. And so what I realized is that TikTok Shop was this whole new demand generation channel. And it was finally the way that we could create some virality around products and test products in the market. Now, I want to talk about one brand specifically here, and this is a shoe brand. They came to us like about, it was a little less than a year ago. They came to us, 0 searches on the platform, right? This is a very well-known shoe brand, just so you guys know, like $1 billion brand. Yeah. They had 0 searches on the platform whatsoever. They came to us and they said, hey, look, we know you guys have this crawl, walk, run sort of approach. We just want to run. We're like, okay, we can do that. Here's the budget, right? And so we, it was like a 7-figure budget. We're like, this is what we're going to have to do. And so we did. And we absolutely ran. And they went from 0 searches. I think we started with them in August, it ended up being. And they went from 0 searches to, in a 2-week period in December, 800,000 searches on TikTok. Wow. So think about that, right? They unlocked this entire new generation, right? These were boomer shoes, just so you guys know before, right? And they locked this entirely new generation. And on top of that, we were just testing a bunch of different shoe styles, right? So we would sample out these different shoe styles to creators and just see what they did with them, right? Basically eliminating, this is the crazy thing, Matt, right? Completely eliminating the need for them to do any research, because you seed the product out there and then see what people do with it. And so there was one shoe in particular that they thought was just a dog. And they're like, yeah, sure, go ahead and sample it out. What ended up selling out? It ended up completely selling out because it went viral on TikTok Shop. Lo and behold, they ended up doing a collab with Sydney Sweeney after on that shoe. And Sydney Sweeney is, having her day, right? And it was just incredible. So like it went from like nothing to Sydney Sweeney level, which I think would kind of be at the peak of pop culture right now, right? That's how insane TikTok Shop is and how much power there is in TikTok Shop. Now, the reason why I think that Shop in particular is very interesting is because people, the kinds of posts that people make are about the product, right? There's no like, this is not like general brand influencer marketing. I have always hated working with influencers. I'm going to be honest with you. Like the majority of influencers, I just hate working with because it's very like, me in a bikini, like having this thing here, right? Like, oh, here's the product, right? But really
Yeah.
what you're selling is your bikini, you know, like, or your body. And that to me just isn't great marketing versus TikTok Shop. I will tell you, these people are trying to sell the product, right? I call it the MLM, the multi-level marketing of our generation, right? Because these people, all that they are incentivized to do is sell the product. And so what they have to do is get really, really creative and start to think like, okay, what is going to work? And sometimes it has to be non-salesy, and sometimes they just kind of slip it in, or sometimes they tell a long story meandering and then be like, hey, by the way, if you like this, click the link in here on this TikTok. That's why it's so cool. That's why I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, that this is what's happening? But I'm curious, Jordan. I mean, I love hearing your stories, and I love the stories that you tell on TikTok. How do I think about TikTok then if I'm not a $1 billion shoe brand that knows Sydney and has got 7 figures to spend? Is this something that is purely reserved for the $1 billion brands, or is this something actually with very little money you can actually do some really interesting things?
So it's both, right? So the reason I bring up big brands is because big brands are actually the ones that are scared to go on the platform, right? They're really scared that they're going to get that that there's going to be content out there, right? The big brands are really scared that there's going to be content out there that they don't approve of, and they want to approve everything. The problem is they can't, right? Like if there's any marketing execs listening to this, it's like in the world of social commerce, you cannot approve everything, right? You need to be okay with people going out there and holding your product and saying some things about it, right? It's just the way it is. Matt, let's talk about smaller brands, because I think that's where things get really, really interesting. So let's talk about what it was like before to seed product. Okay. So this is what seeding looked like before. I'm going to randomly reach out to a bunch of influencers, right? Using whatever tools are out there. Shopify collabs is one, Social Snowball is another one, Sorrel. These are good. These are great tools that are out there, right? The problem is I'm going to randomly reach out to these people, right? That I don't have any sort of connection with and are not incentivized whatsoever to post for me and say, hey, can I send you a gift? And then you send them a gift and you're like one of 100 people that are sending them a gift. They have no reason to post for you. Right. Nor do they even have, like, if anything, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get like, oh my gosh, thanks so much, blank, blank, whatever your brand is. Thanks so much for sending this over to me. And it's going to be in their Instagram story, and like 50 people are going to see it. Right. That's about as much as you're going to get from an influencer. And then what you can do after that is start following up and trying to nurture them and all of that. Right. So that's what seeding was like before, and still is, right? Like there's still a lot of
definitely still can be that way.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying that that's terrible. I think that there's some ways that work a lot better, right? I am all about building relationships, like actual relationships with people in that, and whitelisting and all of that kind of stuff. But that's this side. Now let's talk about what that looks like on TikTok Shop. Well, on TikTok Shop, each creator they're incentivized to post for you, not just because they're making money, but because if they don't post for you, it goes against their score, right? As a creator, right? And so when we go to reach out to creators, we're only reaching out to creators who have an 80% plus fulfillment rate, right? So that means 8 out of 10 packages that they get, they make content for. We're always aiming for every sample that we send out to get 5 pieces of content out of them as well, right? So think about that, right? These are real life videos, TikTok videos that are going out there that have the chance of virality, right? That are going out that we know that 8 out of 10 of them for sure we're going to get, right? Whereas like usually it's 9 out of 10, right? That we're actually getting that many videos, but we could, for those 10 samples, potentially get between 40 and 50 videos. That's the wild thing, right? We're getting that many potential pieces of content. That is life altering for a brand when they can get that many pieces of content. Then we use other tools out there, right? So there's some great social listening tools. I love Refunnel for this. So Refunnel then comes and takes all of that content. It does the social listening, and it finds, and it's one of the only ones that can actually capture TikTok Shop content for some reason. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. I'm not a technical guy, nor do I want to be. Every time I think about like, I'm going to start a software company. And I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not.
I've done
Maybe
that.
I'll buy
You don't
one.
want to do that. Yeah, just move on.
But all of that aside, what Refunnel does is it actually listens for that content, and then you can actually download that content. Now, what we do at Social Commerce Club is very, very sneaky. When somebody becomes an influencer in Social Commerce Club, or sorry, a creator, I don't know why I said the I word there.
Yeah, I was about to go on.
When they become a creator with Social Commerce Club, we actually ask them if we have permission to use any of their content across other channels. The majority of them say yes. So we can then download that piece of content and use it wherever we want, as long as they've given us permission to do that. So that's why we win at Social Commerce Club, because we can then take that content and we try to work with all the brands that we work with. And the way that we've set our pricing up at Social Commerce Club is that we incentivize them to work with us on all channels, right? Not just TikTok Shop, because we really believe that TikTok Shop is an integrated platform with all of it. It's an incredible awareness channel, the best awareness channel that you can possibly have right now for a small brand. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm obsessed with right now when it comes to social commerce.
It's really interesting, isn't it? And I there is something about TikTok. I mean, it being constantly in the press because of our American friends and you know, the Chinese connection and all that sort of thing. There is something about TikTok where you don't have to have any real major followers, and you can post a video and 2,000 people will see it. Whereas if I post a reel on my personal Instagram account, 100 people might see it, 200 people. Do you know what I mean? It seems that TikTok has, at this moment in time, they have totally captured help. I don't know how they do it and why Instagram don't. Do you know what I mean? I don't understand why you don't get the same sort of impact on Instagram that you get on TikTok. There's something about that algorithm. There's something about that audience who are watching those videos.
Well, it's the point. It's the point of the platform, right? Like Instagram is still a follower-driven algorithm, right? And so it still is using your followers as part of that algorithm. Now, you can get virality on Instagram, right? Like it used to be where you would never even be able to show up in somebody else's feed. Somebody had to follow you to be able to see you. Whereas now it's more of like a half and half versus TikTok is a fully content-driven algorithm. Let me tell you just like a quick story here. One of our creators at Social Commerce Club, she has less than 10,000 followers, and she generated $250,000 for a brand last month.
Wow.
Less than 10,000 followers. That is wild. She's probably making 15 to 20% commission on that. Just do the math. It's wild what these creators are making comparatively, right? And people are like, well, do their followers want to see sales content all the time? It's like, doesn't matter. She doesn't care. She doesn't have followers. She's just selling stuff online and doing a really, really good job of it. Yeah.
That's really interesting. So in effect, there's two routes we could go down, almost, isn't there? I can hear my teenage daughter saying, "Matt, Dad, ask Jordan how I become a creator," right? And there's all the other people listening to the show going, "Well, this is great. So how do I get started with this?" I mean, I know people have been talking about it. It's probably the question I get asked more than any other question about marketing at the moment is, how do I do TikTok Shop? And to be honest with you, Jordan, I just go, listen, this is a guy you need to talk to. Here's Jordan's number. Just follow him on LinkedIn and connect and see what goes on. I was talking to a pharmaceutical company 2 weekends ago. They're like, I think we're going to try and do TikTok Shop. I'm like, have you got a budget? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, go give Jordan a ring because I don't think you know what you're doing. Just listening to them talk. I mean, bless them. But it's one of those where it's in everybody's minds. But I think I still think a lot of people are confused by it, if that makes sense. Like, where do people actually start with TikTok Shop?
It's a new muscle, right? It's a new muscle that they're exercising. It is nothing like Facebook ads, right? So first of all, before I tell you sort of like where to start, what I want to tell you is the massive amount of mistakes that we have made, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to TikTok Shop. And this is why I think that we succeed when it comes to this, right? And actually understanding what this channel is exactly. So I've been using this analogy a lot lately, of a Roomba. In business. And the reason why is because we're working with iRobot, and with Roomba, which is really fun. And so when they came to us, I was like, oh yeah. And I was thinking about this analogy. So I got a Roomba, because I was like, I don't know, I just wanted one after we had a meeting with them. And I was watching the Roomba in the way that it maps, a place, right? The way that it maps a house. And all that it does is it just like keeps hitting into things. Right? It's like, oh, not there. Oh, not there. Oh, not there. Not there. Oh, perfect. We're going to go here. In business, the best founders are Roombas, right? They are the ones that are like, oh, that didn't work. That didn't work. That didn't work. That didn't work. You cannot have ego if you are a Roomba. You can't. You have to like get rid of your ego. And so if you're going to want to TikTok Shop, you have to get rid of your ego, because 99% of the things that you do are not going to work. Even if you work with some of the biggest creators that are out there that are producing all this money, it might not work, right? And then most people give up. And so what it is it's the reps that you're putting in. And so let me start, and I'm going to give you like a really simple framework to use here. So number one, right? You need to get samples out there into the hands of creators, right? And I'm not saying,
charging creators for the samples, or are you sending them free?
No, you are sending them free at first. You have zero leverage at first. Okay. I don't care if you're Nike, you have zero leverage. Right? Like the creators, until you have GMV on your store, so until you have sales on your store, and specifically on the SKUs that you're sending out, creators don't care, because their only thing that they don't want to look cool. They're not influencers. They just want to make money on your product. They want to know, is this a product that I can sell a ton of? If I can, awesome, right? Like the amount of supplement brands that go on there that people are like, well, I can't sell the supplement, right? But if they see that other people have, right, have purchased the supplement, then they're more likely to take that sample and be like, okay, well, I'm going to make at least one video out of this, right? Again, our goal is 5 at SEC. So like we're trying to get as much out there as much content out there as we can. So my recommendation is to sample 200 samples in the first month. So the reason being, it is the 80-20 of the 80-20. And so let me explain exactly how the math works, right? So we're going to send out 200 samples. Actually, let's go with 100 just so I can do the 80-20 really simple. So we're going to send 100 samples, right? So for every 100 samples, 20 of them, 80 of the videos are going to be garbage. Okay. 80 of those people, you're just like, they're not going to talk to again. 20 of them are going to do something, right? They're going to drive a meaningful amount of traffic. They're going to drive a meaningful amount of something. I'm not saying revenue yet. Out of those 20, we're going to take the 80-20 of those. Now that's down to 4, right? If I did my math right.
You did. Yeah, we're good.
And 4 of those are going to potentially go viral and produce a ton of sales. Of those 4, you're probably going to have 1 that is going to be the absolute winner, right?
Okay.
But maybe not. And so maybe you have to actually go to the next 100. Right? This is why I recommend 200 a month for the first while. And so that's a lot of samples out there, right? And the way that I mitigate against the idea of like, oh man, that's a ton of samples, is you're going to get a ton of content. And so making sure that you ask for rights to that content right away is really, really important so that you can use it across channels. I like to think of TikTok as a Rubicon, right? So a Rubicon is a door that you can go through one way, but you can't go back through. Right? And so TikTok's content can go anywhere. It can go to Snapchat. It can go to YouTube Shorts. It can go to Instagram, right? It can go to Pinterest. But their content can't go onto TikTok. Right. If you've ever tried launching Instagram content on TikTok, you'll realize it doesn't work. Right? Whereas TikTok's content can kind of go anywhere, which is why, again, I'm obsessed with TikTok content. I would say the only content that I'm as equally obsessed with right now is creator ad reads on YouTube, right? These are like the opposite end of it, right? So this is like the high end social commerce, right? Where it's like, hey, we want to pay for Mr. Beast, right? To do an ad read, an in-platform ad read, versus these smaller creators over here. And this is why I love the entire spectrum of all of it. It's just very interesting to me. So so that's where you get started, right? the problem is at first your listing is probably not going to convert. Because you need to understand the pricing. You need to understand where exactly you are. Where are your competitors? How are you going to differentiate? What's your image stack look like? Right? At first, just use your Amazon image stack, but that's probably not going to cut it at the end of the day. Right? There's a lot that goes into it, Matt.
No, it sounds like a real big site. Do you use software to help you, or are you doing this all in a Google Sheet?
Yeah, so we use multiple different software. So I'll shout out a few of them. So Cala Data is a really good one. Cala Data or Fastmoss. I don't have an allegiance to either one of those. Cala Data is going to help you find all of your competitors, right, and understand sort of like what people are doing out in the space. Reacher is my bot of choice. So they're a CRM, an AI powered CRM for TikTok Shop. So there is a lot of manual work. We use Reacher on every single account. Reacher has some really cool AI integrations as well. I just happen to be an advisor of them as well, and love them. So everything that I tell them to build, they build. And really, really enjoy what they're doing over there. So those are definitely like the two big ones that we're using. And then I have to say a ton of what we're doing is we don't use Sheets, but we use Airtable. The reason why we love Airtable specifically is that Airtable, you can build so much AI off of Airtable.
Yeah, you can.
It like, if you guys are not, like if there's agency people in here, just stop everything you're doing and go build on Airtable, because this is the future. Like everything plugs into Airtable as well. Like it's this beautiful central hub of all of your info. And definitely recommend Airtable.
Yeah, I've been playing around. This is not related to anything, Jordan. You may or may not find this interesting at all. I've been playing around with Airtable and N8N. Have you come across?
Yes.
Is it N8? Is it 8N8? No, N8N, isn't it? .io. Yeah. That thing is insane.
Yes. So there's a lot like that out there too. Like there's a ton of these different apps that are helping build agents, right? Like these agentic apps. But you have to have a source of truth somewhere, right? You have to have a source of all of your data somewhere. That's why Airtable is so good, because you're like, where exactly, like you can get it to build all this stuff, but unless you've got the data, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's super true. No, I'm very much a fan, and even for a Luddite like me, I can get my head around it, which is quite helpful.
I'm becoming more of a Luddite these days, Matt. Like I use this app called Opal on my phone that blocks basically every app that I love to use. And then I also put my phone to grayscale throughout the day. Okay. So like even on business days, I don't have Slack. I can't get into Slack. I can't get into like anything on my phone. LinkedIn, nothing. And so I have to come to my computer if I want to do something, because it was just becoming too much. I was like, this isn't the life that I want to live.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah, who wants to do that? Like Matt, you and I are old enough to remember the days when like you just picked up the phone and called someone and you had to go out, you had to go and see people, and liking their post on Instagram was not equivalent to you actually, being their friend. Yeah.
Heaven forbid. It's it's totally true, isn't it? Sharon and I, we went camping this weekend. My wife and I went the first time I'd ever done glamping.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Big shout out to the guys, James and Sarah at Glawning, who set us up. They're an amazing company. If you're in the UK and you need a bell tent that connects to your van, go check out Glawning. Just a quick shout out to them. They're awesome. Cool. But yeah, we went over to this festival, and I felt very old because I just felt like I brought the average age up. And it was, do you know what was lovely, Jordan, was they had this stage called Forest School, and all the young families, all the kids were in there, like with axes and learning how to build campfires. Not a single one of them had a mobile phone. Not a single one of them was trying to Snapchat their friends or capture content for Instagram. I mean, these are 8-year-old kids, maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kind of age. But it was lovely to see they just weren't on the phones. They were actually outside just doing fun stuff.
I was out with my kids because I let my kids roam free a lot, and they were up a tree, and they were up like, I don't know, 20 or 30 feet up a tree. And there was this old couple that walked by, and he's like, I am so happy to see your kids up so high in the tree. He's like, you know what we don't see enough of these days? Broken arms. It's like
so true.
he's like, we just do, there's not enough broken arms, which tells me kids aren't trying, right? And if anyone's read The Anxious Generation, just every parent must read The Anxious Generation. And I think you'll parent differently. Like I saw a kid at my daughter's school the other day. She's in grade 4 or 5, something like that. She had a phone. And I was like, in 5 years, that is going to be the equivalent of her having a cigarette in her mouth. Yeah. It is that harmful. Like I was like, get off your phone. Get off. Like, Mom, do you not realize the damage that you're doing with this girl? And lo and behold, she's the one who has like the biggest attitude. Right. Yeah. And I'm like, well, chicken or egg, because poor girl has to defend herself against all of this stuff coming at her online. Right. Like I will refuse for my kids to have screens before they're 16. I just refuse it. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if all the kids make fun of you in school. It doesn't matter. It's not going to be nearly as detrimental as you being on social media. I have like zero doubt that we're going to look back on this time of all this experiment that we're doing and be like, oh, this is why no one's having kids. Yeah. Right. This is why our like no one's happy. And we've never seen such like SSRI use and all of this stuff. Right. Like, of course.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, bro. I think recently the Australian government banned mobile phones, didn't they, for kids under 16. No, they didn't ban mobile phones. They social media, I think, is now
ban social media. Okay,
16, yeah, until you're 16. And I think, well, good on you, because I think
it's coming everywhere.
Yeah, I think it has to.
It has to.
It does. We sound like the two grumpy old men from the Muppets.
as we should. Maybe they knew more than we actually
Maybe they
understood,
had a point,
you know?
yeah.
I'm starting to like them, actually.
Yeah, more and more. We should go back, bring back the wisdom of the grumpy old men. And I love that. Jordan, listen, if people want to find out more about the Social Commerce Club, maybe connect with that, figure out if it's a good fit for them. What's the plan there?
So they can go to socialcommerceclub.com, or even better, they can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Now, I try to be good in my inbox on LinkedIn. I do try to check every message, but sometimes I look and they look spammy, so then I don't actually open them. The problem is sometimes they're actually great messages. And I go back later because they're like, hey, just following up. And I'm like, oh yeah, another sales follow-up. And I look and I was like, oh, you're a great brand that wants to work with us.
Yeah.
Awesome. So try me on LinkedIn too, but or you can even just reach out at jordan@socialcommerceclub.com. That is my email address as well. So see if we're a fit. We're obsessed with all things. Again, we come at this from a D2C perspective, right? D2C first, because D2C is all about demand gen. Right? Yeah, demand generation is so much harder than demand capture. Yeah. But we've all seen what happens with Amazon brands when that's all that they have, right? Is this capture of not a huge market. And
I think it's a painful road, but that's just me. It's the reason why I don't acquire or invest in pure Amazon businesses. There's better people out there that do it than me.
I never did either when I was doing acquisitions. Yeah.
Yeah, just not a fan. Not a fan. And tell us a little, for those that maybe are new to the show and didn't hear the very first episode that we did, I don't even think TikTok was, I don't even know if mobile phones were a thing when we did our first recording, Jordan.
I don't even know if we did. I think we did that one in person. I think I flew to the UK for that one.
Yeah, I think we did with a gramophone in the middle, and someone was, I didn't handle recording it. Tell us a bit about your podcast. People might want to come listen.
Yes.
I listen to it. I'm one of your regulars.
Oh, you are? Oh, thank you, Matt. Thank you. I'm always surprised when I look and see our download numbers. And because I have done this podcast for so many years that I think we're close to episode 650 right now. And it's funny, for anyone who's listened to it for a while, it's called Secrets to Scaling Your E-Commerce Brand. We just hit 1 million downloads, which is fun. I know after 650 episodes, you're probably doing the math and being like, wow, it's not that good, but
there's 4 each episode, but well done. Yeah.
But I have now been putting them out on YouTube finally, which is hilarious because I always had video content. I just didn't ever put it out on YouTube, and we're getting like thousands of views an episode, which is really fun. And it's just great to see. What I'm trying to do, I'm actually doing a new thing right now. And they are called, it's part of Secrets to Scaling Your E-Commerce Brand, but I'm releasing my first one this week. It's called eCommerce OS Fast Track Sessions. So I am the first time I'm serving smaller e-commerce brands, right? At our agency, it's really difficult to do. We can't resource it properly, the costing and all of that. And so I am launching a new program called eCommerce OS. You can go check it out at ecommerceos.co. And I'm launching this new program. And so alongside of it, I'm doing these shorter episodes where I bring an e-commerce founder on and I consult with them for 20 minutes and we solve one big problem. And it has been so much fun every single time. So the first one, a guy came on who's running a brand for Selena Gomez. And he is just having a huge issue besides when Selena posts going from 0 to 1. Mm-hmm. Right. And so we talked through the strategy because it's an ice cream brand. And so they can't ship. So it can't be direct to consumer. They can't do TikTok shop. And so we just talked through what to do. And so it's very consultative and I am having a blast doing it. And it is definitely it's renewed my passion in podcasting. And my episodes for the last 3 months, I've really been trying to get my content guy to help me out. And I just got to say, it's my superpower. I can't let anyone else do it. It's the thing I'm good at, not them.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We should do a whole episode one day on why every e-commerce brand should probably have their own podcast. It's a personal pet thing of mine, but save that maybe for another day.
Yes. We don't have the time today, Matt.
Yeah, well, you've got 4 minutes before you need to bugger off. So
I do.
So I figure it needs to be.
And can I say why I have to leave in 4 minutes?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So the reason why, and Matt was like, well, hey, how long can we talk for? And the reason why I have to leave in 4 minutes is because I have an hour where I'm going to talk to my best friend on the phone. And it's nothing to do with business. And I recently read the book, The 5 Types of Wealth, and by Sahil Bloom. Highly recommend if anyone hasn't listened to it. And realized, I'm like, I only ever cared about the one kind of wealth, which is money. Yeah. And I didn't even really understand what that was. Like, I really actually thought that was just piling up cash. Yeah. And that actually wasn't it, because it didn't help me sleep at night. No matter how much money I had or how little, it just didn't even matter. Right. Yeah. Until I realized the 5 types of wealth. And one of them is relational wealth. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have not, I've not prioritized that. So even like today, I had a meeting at 12 o'clock, and I realized that my wife was free for lunch, and I was like, well, I'm canceling that meeting because lunch is way more important with my wife than some rando meeting. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it just is. Yeah. And I'm not going to be on my deathbed and be like, I'm so glad I took that meeting with James. Mm-hmm. Right. I'll be like, oh, I'm so glad I made time for you and for lunch and for slow things. Right. Anyway, that's what I wanted to tell you.
Well, we should do an episode on that as well. Jeez, so many more episodes to come. Jordan, listen, thank you so much, brother. Always fun doing these podcasts and just chatting the breeze with you, man. And it's a shame I won't see you at Sub Summit this year. But are you going to Sub Summit?
I am not. We're having a 4th child and moving in the next little while. So,
what kind of random excuse is that?
She would kill me if I went to Dallas right now. So
fair enough. Yeah. Well, we'll hook up at some point in the future, no doubt. But if I don't speak to you before, I hope it goes well with your 4th child. No doubt it will. But Jordan, you're a legend. Thank you so much for coming on, man. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening to the show. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. But from me and from Jordan, that's it. And bye for now.